We're joined by 9-time Grammy winner Sheryl Crow, who's performing an hour-long pre-race concert at 5:30 out on pit road. Sheryl has a long list of hits, including All I Want to Do, Soak Up the Sun, and her latest single, Easy. And Sheryl actually was performed here several years ago for the Daytona Tribute Concert. It's been here before, and also I think been at other NASCAR facilities. So, Sheryl, talk a little bit about being back at Daytona and a unique performance venue. Talk about being back here playing in front of the crowd.
Well, I love playing NASCAR and have followed it for years and have always had a particular fondness for the Earnhardts. And in fact, I had Dale Jr. in my Lightning McQueen video. Steve McQueen video. I get him confused now that I have kids. In fact, I took my kids out on the track earlier today and said, this is where Lightning McQueen would be racing if he was real. But we love participating in NASCAR events. I was always particularly impressed with how close the families are. First time I went to a NASCAR event, I believe it might have been Talladega, and got to go to the prayer service. And it's just always been an impressive sport to me in that it's very family-oriented. And we're thrilled to be here. I've been following it this year. I got to meet Carl Edwards, who is a home state driver and also from my alma mater of University of Missouri, even though he pointed out that he had not graduated. He's also a former substitute school teacher, and I was a school teacher, so we have quite a lot in common, and he seems like a great guy. So we're thrilled to be here. We feel like it's one of the coolest sports, and definitely the sport that represents what I love most, which is family and prayer. So.
Excellent. One last question before we open it up. Are you pulling for anybody special tonight, and where are you watching the race?
You know, I'm always partial to Dale Jr. I'd love to see Carl Edwards do well. I'm also pulling for Danica. I'd love to see her have a great race. I was following a little bit about what Kyle Petty said, and I love seeing Tony Stewart stick up for her, and I do feel like for somebody who didn't have as many hours behind the wheel on these big NASCAR tracks, that she's done us females proud, real proud. So I'd like to see her have a great race today.
How has motherhood changed the thought process in the way you write your music?
Well, it's changed everything, and it's changed my life completely and totally, and your life always informs your art. So there are a few things that just logistically, it's definitely changed. My creativity used to be a really selfish endeavor, and now I have to schedule when I'm going to be inspired, because my kids rule my schedule, and they're the first thing I get up with in the morning, and the last thing I do before I either go to bed or go on stage is put them to bed. And I am lucky. I'm a working mom who goes to work predominantly at night, and I get to tuck my kids in and then go to work. Yeah, it has changed my way of looking at life. I'm seeing life now through the eyes of two little guys who haven't seen everything yet, and it definitely makes you want to stop where you are and think, I'm going to remember this moment. I'm going to be very present. And it's also taught me to put my cell phone away. They will not tolerate it. So it's been great to, in some ways, be completely non-reachable, although it does drive my management crazy. Cannot reach me most of the time.
Hi, Sheryl. Allison Walker with News 13. Driving up here, there's all those pimped out RVs and people in their blow up pools and everything. I don't know if you saw that.
It made my my tour bus seem like really kind of low down. Now we're like, well, we hate our tour bus. We want a cool RV.
When was the last time where you got to just camp out somewhere like that, just to be a fan?
Oh, we camp. I mean, right now because my kids are 3 and 6, we're camping in the backyard, where if, you know, we have an accident in our sleeping bag, we can go inside. So, but you know, I will tell you one thing that is great about living in Nashville, and that's where we live, and I've been living there since I had breast cancer and before I adopted my 2 boys, and that is that we live a very, very normal life. There's no paparazzi, knock on metal. And we live a very normal life. You know, we see a lot of other artists and songwriters around town. We see people in the school pickup line and at church and at other people's foundation fundraisers and things. And we do very normal things. We went fishing last week, and my main thing is that my kids will grow up in nature, and because I feel like that's as close as you can feel God's presence is in the beauty of His handiwork. And so we're, you know, we just try to keep it normal. They're going to grow up camping whether they like it or not. It takes a lot of work to be on the road. It takes a lot of being away from home, and that's not easy. And these guys who are doing it and their families who are supporting them, I feel certain aren't doing it just for the money or for the trophies. They're doing it because it's a lifelong dream and it's something they've worked hard at. My first car was a Z28 with glass packs and headers and cherry bombs, the whole thing. And but nobody told me I was supposed to change the oil in it, and then I had to buy a new short block for it a year after I drove it to college for a year. But yeah, you know, what kid in America doesn't want to own you know, a hot rod and drive fast? And I imagine that probably one of my two kids is going to be that kid. I've got one that's probably a little safer, that it will probably be a drummer, but the other one might be a race car driver.
Okay, we'll wrap things up. I'd like to bring in the International Speedway President Joey Chitwood for a special presentation.
I can't think of a better artist to represent Daytona International Speedway and NASCAR on a special weekend, which is celebrating July 4th and all the great things about our country.
Yeah.
And I know our fans are going to enjoy it. But more than that, we wanted to get a photo op with this great Coke Zero guitar that I know is going to go to the NASCAR Foundation after this. So if we go, we'll do a little photo op right now.
That's awesome.